Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to Japan Club's first episodes of our podcast type series. We don't have a name for it yet, but during this series, we're going to be talking about different things about Japanese culture, our connection with it, and sort of being a college student at Pacific as well. Starting off, we're going to have mostly the executive team talking about these and topics and engaging with each other, but we're hoping to have more members as well join us and talk about their unique perspectives as well. So we'll start off with introductions. Andrew?
Okay, hello. So my name is Andrew Liberato, and I am the core representative for Japan Club, and I am a senior at Pacific. My major is public health, and I have a minor in psychological health and well-being. So, and to Tanner.
That wasn't quite the order we agreed on.
Was it not?
Go ahead.
We're not cutting this. It's just going to be as is.
No cut.
But
first
then I popcorn him.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Tanner, and I'm a senior majoring in business and Japanese, and I'm the culture rep of Japan Club. All right, Shun.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Shun. I'm the president of Japan Club. I am a junior majoring in biology and Japanese. I got everything right. That was the intro. Perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll go right into today's topic. So to start off, we're going to talk about sort of our connection with Japan, like what's our story and how are we connected to Japan. I guess we can just start off with Andrew again.
So I myself am not Japanese, I'm Filipino, but I've been born and raised in Hawaii. So in the broadest senses, Japan has had a major influence in Hawaii culture. So in the simplest of ways, like a lot of either different kind of superstitions are some of the most typical examples, and even cases of like religion. But most prominent to me are definitely a lot of the cuisine, for sure. But I have been living amongst multiple ethnicities, not just Japanese, but I don't know what else to talk about.
Just keep going, man.
You going? But yeah, most of it is F.
I love that.
Yeah, seriously.
It's okay. Andrew forgot how to talk for 2 seconds. It's okay. That happens to everyone.
But yeah, let's just go to the next one.
All right, Tanner, do you want to go first?
Of course, yes. Since Andrew
I died.
made this order. All right, so I am born and raised in Hawaii, just like Andrew. But I'm not Filipino. I'm actually Japanese. And I am not half. A lot of people assume that just because you're bilingual, you're like half. So I do have a hard time explaining to, especially Japanese people. I do have a hard time explaining to them how I'm not half. I'm Japanese. I'm just born and raised in Hawaii. And yeah, my mom is from Japan and my dad is Japanese American, just like me. So it's kind of hard to explain because I'm Japanese, but I'm not. So during my freshman, sophomore year, I would sometimes have a hard time knowing who the heck am I, like I sometimes had identity issues because I couldn't really explain to myself. But this is something I would like to talk more about in the future. But then, yeah, this is the introduction. So that's like a brief introduction of my background. So Shuni can go next.
So unlike Tanner, I actually am half. So I'm half Japanese, half Norwegian. My parents met in California, San Francisco, when my mom came over because she just, I don't know why, but she left Japan, and they met there. But our sort of issues for Tanner and I are very similar in that when I was growing up, it was very difficult to identify sort of which position I was in. Like I remember I was born and raised in Oregon, which is a very white state. So there wasn't a lot of people like me. My area, I live in Beaverton, so it's becoming more and more like Asian dominant. But when I was a kid, it was not like that at all. And I remember at school, being very confused about sort of being like very pale and very white, but the way I thought, the way I behaved, and of course, like I got made fun of it for a lot, but my eyes were pretty small compared to everyone else. And so that kind of separated me from everyone. And just sort of struggled with my identity, because when I was in my like elementary school or whatever, I was definitely like I was different from all the white kids. But when I went to like, it's sort of like Japanese school, but it's not quite, we call it sakurakai here. I went there for a little bit in elementary school, but there I was very much like white. Like I couldn't read kanji very well compared to people. Like I could do all the math and stuff, but the kanji I sucked at. And so I was definitely a little bit like below other people in terms of my ability with Japanese. And that sort of, I struggled with that a lot throughout growing up, essentially. It didn't help, especially like people, I mean, I don't know if Tanner, especially you, have experienced this, but in Oregon, people are, well, like, I don't know how to phrase this in a polite way, but sometimes they're pretty mean about topics surrounding race. Like some people would joke about how their ancestors bombed my ancestors. Like I remember that being a pretty consistent topic, and being like, I don't know why that's funny at all, but people would keep talking about it. But yeah, it's very interesting growing up in that sort of situation, sort of being disconnected, but yet you are still connected to Japan. Sorry, mine kind of dragged on a little bit longer.
No, it's okay.
I think that's a good sort of brief question, not brief question, brief sort of introduction to all of our experiences. Do you two have any questions for each other? I think we're just going to kind of ask each other questions. And then for our audience, if you have any questions as well, feel free to leave comments or suggestions about what you want to hear us talk about next, or if you have your own interesting perspective as well, feel free to contact us through our email or just comment on this YouTube video saying like, hey, like I want to be part of this podcast as well, and we'll be happy to talk to you. But for now, any questions from you guys?
All right, I have a question for Andrew.
All right.
So what made you interested in Japanese culture? Because we're Japanese, but then you're not. I understand that Hawaii is like a big Japanese culture place, but then like you have to be interested in it, right? To at least,
for me,
like,
actually,
go into it.
It started off when I was younger. Actually, it was more. At least I'm not sure if every island does this, but they have what's called Bon dance at the Buddhist temples, and it's usually like a summer event that happens at like the different temples on the island, and it's just like a large festival with all sorts of treats, goodies, a lot of people doing pretty much all the cultural dances, all that. And it was probably one of the first instances of exposure that got me interested in general as a kid, and then it just slowly built up interest as I went through middle school, high school, and then I started taking up language in high school. And even now I kind of it just slowly built up at a young age, I would say. So.
Okay. One more question for you. So how a lot of people like Japan because of anime. So I wanted to hear how you feel about
You
anime.
had to toss that one. You had to toss that one at me. That one's kind of I feel like that's a personal attack. Okay. That one, so you're asking how I was exposed to that, or repeat that?
So just talk about your connection with anime and what kind of...
That one was a familial reason. It started off with my brothers introducing that to me, and my oldest brother's like 30. So I also started at a relatively young age watching that, and I think some of the first two, probably for most people like my age, would be like watching Naruto first. For a lot of people, for sure, it's Pokemon, but other ones would be like Naruto, Dragon Ball. For sure, me, One Piece is a really big one. I'm still on that one.
Oh, wow, that's been going on forever.
It's been going on forever. It literally hit its 1,000th chapter like not too long ago.
Crazy.
Yeah. It it's been a long running thing too, just as when I was first introduced to Japanese culture. You had to get me with the anime.
Thank you for your wonderful insight, Andrew.
I think
Thank you for the attack.
A lot of people, like a lot of times people view like, oh, people who watch anime, they're like this weeb thing, you know? And I think that word is almost thrown around too lightly, because I don't think there's anything like, this is my perspective too, is like there are definitely people who like watch anime once and think they know everything about Japan, you know? And it's really frustrating to deal with those people sometimes. It's like a half, or like someone who's Japanese, you're like, no, we don't like throw shuriken like to kill people. Like, what are you talking about? And you know, like they just say random things sometimes. But
yeah, I think the actual definition was just someone who identified themselves as Japanese because of these things.
Exactly. And so like anime is really like, in my opinion, it's a good way to get people to be drawn towards Japan. And it's because Japanese culture is just like so interesting, right? Like we had the country was shut down from the outside world for so long, and culture just flourished during that period. And it's so unique, and that's why so many people are drawn to it through anime. But also just like, what's wrong with anime? It's like, it's just fun to watch, like, you know?
Actually, as compared to when I was younger and up till now, actually, I feel like the presence of anime was probably grown a lot during the past, at least I want to say decade, actually, because I've been hearing more and more people actually talk about it, rather than like any show, any manga, any of those. I haven't heard it as much when I was in like middle school, because it definitely was made fun of.
It's definitely, it's very cool that it's come out like that. And I mean, people are being more and more exposed to Japanese culture, but like, like anime was such like taboo for a while. And now like major celebrities are coming out and be like, yeah, I love anime. Like who, like Michael B. Jordan, whatever. I remember like during an interview or something, he was like, yeah, like I'll read manga every once in a while. And it's like, whoa, like there is a major celebrity saying that he is engaging with Japan in a way that previously was thought to be really nerdy, weeby, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think you can learn a lot about Japan and the language just from watching and reading manga and anime.
I think a lot of celebrities actually made statements of their own saying what their favorite one was. And then I think there was one statement by Samuel Jackson somewhere, some clip, but it's also it's also a meme just because it's Samuel Jackson.
I know the one you're talking about, and I think you should not mention it.
I'm not gonna.
So I have a question real quick for Tanner, actually.
Oh, wow.
First of all, did you ever engage with like manga, anime? I think you told me once that you read manga, right, as a kid?
Oh yeah, so I read manga when I was a kid to learn kanji and stuff, so it was a big influence in my life. And anime, I used to watch a lot in high school, but then right now I don't really watch it as much anymore. It's not because I want to be weeby or anything. It's just, I don't know. Anime could be time consuming, and you have to be pretty passionate about it if you want to continue watching it for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
I can't say anything because I'm a total binge watcher.
We have an anime expert.
Get made fun of for reading manga / watching anime?
Not because you're not made fun of because you read manga or watch anime. You're made fun of because of your actions from reading manga and watching anime. So if you, I don't know, let's say there's a fighting scene in anime. If you do that in real life, you're going to be made fun of, especially if you're in high school or anything. You can't be sword fighting in high school. You can't be imagining Japanese girls and their kawaii face in real life, you know, because that's not real. That's anime, 2D world. So what's it called? Yeah, I mean, there were people that were like really into anime just because it was entertaining, but then at the same time there's people that's I don't know, into anime. I don't know if that's the right word, but they will think anime is in real life, and they will talk like an anime character, they will act like an anime character. It's an anime for a reason, right? So if you do this in real life, you're going to be kind of different compared to everyone else. So yeah, to answer your question, I wasn't made fun of because I was just watching anime, and I still acted like a regular person, not like an anime person.
Interesting. I think I was wondering too with like because in Hawaii, right, like Japanese culture is so prominent. Like, but in Oregon, growing up, if I ever mentioned like watching anime or like reading manga, they'd always like make fun of me and say I was like a weeb. And like, I'd always be like, according to the definition of like being a weeb, I can't be a weeb. I'm Japanese. And then they'd always hit me with this like, oh, so you're half a weeb then. And that pissed me off so much. I just remember like as a kid getting so frustrated, people calling me half a weeb. But just for watching, like I wasn't doing any stupid crap. Like I was a normal person. It just, I don't know. It was very interesting. Like the climate here when I was younger, surrounding Japanese culture and anime and manga and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So if you watch the Filthy Frank video of Weeaboo, that video was a big part of how that word weeaboo started to rise. And like his video was funny. It was really funny. It was a big part of my childhood. But then at the same time, that made people over exaggerate about weebs or like the definition of weebs. Like how you said, what's it called? Just because you watch anime, people assume because you watch anime you're a weeb, but that's not true. It's when they take things too far, then they're weeb, right? So I don't know when did this happen to you, Shun? So like when were you what's it called half a weeb? Was it like I think this video was released in high school. So yeah, that video was released around in high school. So I think that video was a big influence of why you were called that. I think it was like in 2015. I'll look it up later.
15. So yeah, like that. I think that's my freshman year of high school. Maybe. Yeah, I guess that does make sense. And I mean, it's kind of weird to say like a Filthy Frank video had a huge cultural impact, but
it really did.
Yeah, I know.
It was my first instance of hearing that word.
Really?
I haven't really had to deal with the word as often. I've actually the most I've dealt with being called a weeb was literally during either junior year, senior year high school, and part of college. I haven't really had to deal with it for a while, but I don't know. Filthy Frank was literally the first case of me hearing it, and as we know, Filthy Frank, it's like a big fat meme and a half. But
which also off topic, but Filthy Frank being like an actual like serious singer now blows my mind. Like he's part of like the 88 Rising thing. And like I've listened to his songs recently, I'm like, holy shit, like he is singing legitimate songs now. Like, whoa, blows my mind how someone can go from singing very inappropriate songs to singing stuff like that. Like that's honestly so cool, and I'm really happy for him. But we are kind of out of time. This video was very much meant to be short and sort of like a pilot for our series. So we're going to end it now. But if you have any suggestions or things you want to see in the future from us, or you want to be involved with this sort of thing and come on and talk and chill or something like that and just be part of the podcast series, comment on this YouTube video. If you like this video, want to see more of stuff like this, hopefully we don't get caught up in randomly talking about anime and stuff again. Please like the video, and then hopefully we will see you all again when we talk about certain topics like this again. Alrighty. Thank you everyone so much for watching.